Alright guys, I wanted to put together a little video for you guys on how I make my inline spinners. Now, there's a ton of different ways you can do these. This is the way that I use because it utilizes what I already have with my fly vise. One of the big things about your fly vise or whatever device you have, I want something that can hold and stay holding. Like my vise is pretty top of the line, but you want a vise that like this, like that wire shaft that you see in there, that it's not going to move, it's not going to come out when you go to do your twists and things. I want to get started with just basically a material breakdown and a tool breakdown. So the only tools that I really use are, hang on a second here, we gotta bump that a little, there we go. The tools that I use, obviously my fly vise. I use rounded needle nose pliers. You can see they are round. You can buy them. I think they call them like jeweler's pliers or something like that. Like $6 off eBay. And then I had these. These are a little rough looking. I might actually buy a new pair. But just a nice little pair of wire cutters is all you really need. But those are the three tools that you need. And for my spinners that I use brass countersunk fly tying beads, and I don't know why. I mean, originally I bought it just in case so that I didn't want to just in case that I didn't like making spinners and I could use them as a fallback for my fly tying. But I actually really like how they look and how the countersunk beads kind of mesh together. So I went with them, and there's a zillion different combinations you can do, but it's mainly a process of, adding beads, clevis, blade, the body if you have a body or more beads, and then attaching your hook and wrapping it. So right now we're just going to go over the quick rundown. I'm going to make one of my golden white spinners. So our first thing we have on there is our wire shaft. And now the first bead that I put on, I think is more cosmetic. Some things that I've read and things people put in there to act like a ball bearing, but I just like how it looks. So you take your bead, and if you notice on this one, I have the small part of the hole facing this way. That's so my blade will ride on that smaller surface and not the big one and have it screwed up. So our next step is to add a clevis. Now I'm going to just show it to you because you can, in your blade. So you want to make sure that blade, the cup or the back of it, is facing away from the loop. So we're just going to slide the clevis on like this. Okay, now I pinch it there, and then I just pinch it again here, so that way I have full control over it. Now we're going to take our wire. Now you can't see this, but you basically just put those holes on the clevis. Put the holes right like that. I don't know if you can see it or not, but you put the holes of the clevis through the shaft and then slide it down. So my next bead I'm going to put on there is another 2.8 millimeter brass bead in gold. And if you notice on this one, I have the tapered end of the countersunk bead touching it again, not the bigger end. No, I don't want to bend this. But there you go. You can see how that's countersunk. It's deeper on that side, and the other side is just kind of like rounded. So then on my recipe for the spinner that I like to use, my next bead is a 3.2 millimeter countersunk brass fly tying bead. And with those, see how that body matches, and you get like almost like a taper look there. that's why I like these. And it doesn't, I really don't think it matters, to be honest. I mean, you could have a bunch that are all the same size, or, you know, maybe you can make a heavy spinner set where it's all big beads, you know, whatever you want to do. So just to reiterate, 2.8 millimeter brass gold bead, size 3 easy spin clevis in gold, size 3 Colorado blade in white, 2.8 millimeter countersunk fly tying bead, gold, 3.2 millimeter countersunk fly tying bead in gold. And these all have the small part of the hole on the countersunk bead facing down, except this one. This one faces up, so it acts like a bearing. See if I can't get that thing to spin. And that just hit off of there, but I don't even know if you really need that, you know. It works for the way I use it, I think. I can't tell how it looks inside the water, but the fish like it, so I'm sticking to it. The next bead that we're going to put on there, 3.8 millimeter countersunk fly tying bead in gold. And all I'm doing, which you can't see it, but I'd rather you see how I twist it and stuff than me sliding beads on, is I'm just taking that small part of the hole of the bead. There you go, there's a good look at it. See how it's small? The back is open, it's countersunk. So I put that small part up in here, slide it down. Now we're going to put on a trailing bead after I take a quick sip of coffee. And this is just like a little accent, and it's a 4.5 millimeter brass countersunk fly tying bead in white. So now I don't know if this matters or not, but having a fly tier's background, I like to keep things in proportion. And my proportion, when that blade comes up, I want it to be, you can see, the same length as that body. Not that I think it matters. I mean, my girls didn't tie, they made some spinners that were like this long. But for me, my proportions, I like that blade to be just about as long as that body. That's just my proportions that I like to do. And this is going to be tricky for me to do because I have my phone sitting in front of me, but I wanted to do this video as you're watching it, you're doing it, like you're looking at your vise. So if I bump the camera, bear with me here. So now we're going to take our round jeweler's pliers and we're going to form our loop at the end. Now what I do, and I try to keep consistent, I put my finger right here, then I take these jeweler pliers, I go right to about the middle, and the farther up you go, the bigger your loop's going to be. You don't want to do it down in here, it'll be real tiny. So I go right to about the middle of those, just because it's easier to find. Okay, now I'm squeezing the pliers, and I'm going to twist them. Twist the wire to you. Okay, this one might be a little big, but we'll see. You gotta keep it tension. I hold the shaft to try to not let it bend. Okay, and if you look, I twisted it around and went under. Okay, but if you look, see how it goes straight and then the loop's bent. So I then take my jeweler's pliers with the smaller pointy end, come up a little bit, and now we're going to kink this. And what that does, see how it gives us a nice loop, the start of one. So now we take our spinner out of the vise, we take our hook, and I like these size 8. This is a let me get the model number for you if you want to write it down, and I'll have a list of materials up, but this is a Mustad KVD Elite round bend. I think that KVD is Kevin Van Dam, he's the bass guy, but The part number is TR7-8NP, and I buy these on eBay from a seller, Mike LMB44. Great guy. You know, he always gets my stuff fast. They come in a nice box. You can't go wrong with a purchase from him. And you know, he sent me a few samples and stuff as he knows I'm trying to perfect these. Okay, so now all we're gonna do, spinner's clamped on. I like to go a little bit like this. Okay, so you see that bend that we made? That's where we want to make our first wrap. So bring that down like this. Okay, I like to put my thumb there, and you gotta watch because your hook's gonna be right there. Bend it like 90, so you're just touching that. Now you just go around the back side of that bend. And I have a very nice vise that keeps this all tight, so it makes it easy. And it's actually rotary, and I can rotate and do this, but I figured most of you guys aren't gonna have this kind of vise. And then, now I'm taking my time to show you, but once you get good, you can really get it. And I do 3 wraps. I don't think you need that many, but that's just what I do. And you can see I did make that a little long, but it'll still work. Because you can see, now that I have my third bend on there, when this spinner goes up, that's a pretty decent amount, but like I said, I'm videoing. You can adjust that number, or how long this is. You can even make yourself a little gauge if you wanted, you know, like a little piece of wood or something that when that spinner's in there, you could flip it around. But that's all there is to it. Now all we have to do is take our pliers and snip off this tag end. Now, if you make this really tight up here, it's hard to get your pliers in, okay? So you want to give yourself a little bit of room. I'm just going to twist that down just a little bit more. Okay, so you want to give yourself some room there. So if you look when I go to do this, see how tight I can get that then? And actually when I do this, I take and slide this all the way to the end, and that's how I got my hook in the finger, because this thing has a lot of tension. Okay, so you want to make sure that you give it some meat on there. So now we take our pliers, just like this. And now see how I can rotate mine. You may not be able to do that. I run it right up against the edge. Squeeze. And there is our inline spinner. And like I said, I like to have this be a lot shorter. But, you know, it doesn't matter. I fished them long, I fished them short. Either way, it's going to be being pulled through the water, and all these components are going to shift back anyway. Like, this isn't going to go like this. When the water's hitting, oops, sorry, it's not going to move around like this unless you stop winding. When you're winding, that blade's going to just spin like that. But now, see, it moved because there's no water pressure behind it. But the water will be coming in at it, because, you know, you either cast upstream and bring it faster than the current, or you cast downstream and bring it up. But that doesn't shift around. But that's my, I don't want to say it's my design, but that's, you know, my layout, my one that I use. And if you look at that loop, because we put that bend in it, that kink, see how it's nice and, you know, it's not kinked off to one side or something. It's still in line. Now, it's not the exact same plane, if you will, as that top loop, but I haven't seen any issues with it. Now, I don't have one of those wire formers, so this is what I utilize. But it's not hard to do, and once you get your groove going, like you can see here, I have my stuff laid out. I have all my shafts, my hooks, my blades, and I have my beads compartmentalized in there. So, yeah, I hope that helped you guys out. You know, it's not a very hard thing to do, and it's not very, I don't want to say it's artistic, because it's you know, you're just assembling components. But give it a try and let me know if you need any help. I'll try to help you as best I can. So have a good day.